Hello, my friends. This is Lindsay from cloud9stampers.com, and I wanted to show you this really fun technique to make a water drop look using your Stampin' Blends. So let's get started. If you're watching this video as part of the March Color Me Happy class, you will have received a kit in the mail that looks like this. So the first thing you're going to do is fold your card base in half, and you can use a bone folder to give the edge a nice press and set that aside. You have a packet that has all your bits and pieces to complete the rest of the card. You have a black piece and a designer series paper piece. These are going to be layered together. And then these are all cut from the beautiful brush strokes dies, and it's cut with the shimmery white cardstock. So I'd recommend taking a minute to just poke out any pieces that need to be removed. So you'll need two colors of blends, and it doesn't matter what colors you use, but in this situation I went for the traditional red rose with green leaves. And I'm going to just go ahead and color the whole thing using dark Poppy Parade. Once you have it all colored, you're going to bring in alcohol and just spritz it onto the paper, and then let the reaction happen. So you can see it's starting to remove some of the ink. So you're going to complete that step on all of the pieces of the rose. Once you have them colored, we're going to do that same step with the alcohol. And then you're going to set those ones aside while you do the leaf in green. While those are drying, you're going to bring in your black piece of cardstock and your greeting. I used the stamp set You Are Amazing, and I pulled out the Hip Hip Hooray greeting. And because we're stamping on black cardstock, you'll either need to emboss it in white or stamp in craft white ink. So I'm going to use my white ink to show you what that would look like, and that also is what we can use to emboss with. So we're going to stamp like that. So you could just let it dry like this, or you can use it to heat emboss. If you are going to heat emboss, you'll bring in your white embossing powder, sprinkle it over top of the stamp while it's wet, and then you will bring in your heat tool and you're going to melt the embossing powder. So once it's all shiny, you know that it has been embossed. We can set that aside, and now we're going to bring in the pieces of our rose. So you can see this piece here and this piece here are matching so that you can just line them up. So I'm going to use glue dots to hold that in place. So just line up that one corner and this corner here, and then the rest should line up like that. Then we're going to bring in this one, and it has the same thing. So this piece here and this piece here will line up, and then it'll layer over top. So that's what it looks like when it's lined up. Then you can bring in your leaf, and you're going to just tuck that in there. So use a little bit of Stampin' Seal, and then that will just stick behind the rose and let the leaves come up like that. I would recommend sticking it on using dimensionals. And then bring your piece back in and you can line that up and stick that on like so. You're going to bring in the Designer Series paper and use your Stampin' Seal to adhere it to the paper. That gives that fun lined border. Bring back in your card base and use dimensionals to layer the whole card front on to the card base. Once the backings are off, you can center it onto the card. And then you have these two little dewdrops that you're going to add to the flowers and the leaves. So I have the one here that we're just going to stick onto the flower and one that we can stick onto the leaf. And there you have your finished project. Have fun crafting!